Hello everybody and welcome back. In the previous lecture we discussed what was an HTTP request, and right now we will discuss what an HTTP response is. So as I said, they are very similar. The response is basically what server sends back to us. For example, when we send an HTTP request with the get and then the name of some page, we basically want the server to send us that page back. So it will send us the HTTP response with the HTML code of that server, and that's how we load the pages. So let us see the basic structure of the HTTP response. Here I have a picture, and let me just enlarge this a little bit. As we can see right here, the upper part is the header of the HTTP response. As I said, the HTTP response consisted of two things, which is the header and the body. In the header we get this information about the server, and in the body we basically get the content or the website HTML code, which is basically just the page itself. So the HTTP response starts with the protocol, which is current version 1.1, and then the status code. The status code basically represents the 200 right here. As we can see, represents that the operation was successfully done. Now you can also have some of the other codes right here. For example, if the number right here starts with 4, that means that you have a certain error in a request. If the number right here starts, for example, with 5, there is an error, but this is not an error on the client side, this is an error on the server side. So the 400 and then some number is the error in the request side or on the client side, and the 500 and then some number is the error on the server side. Also, as I said, 200 means that operation was successfully done, and the 300 means redirection of the website. So for example, you try to visit some of the website and it redirects you to another website. That will be specified with the status code of 300 and something. Now there are some of the things that we need to remember right here. The date doesn't really matter to us that much. The server is basically important since it gives us the version of the version and type of the server itself. As it says right here, it is Apache 2.0.63 Unix, and it is useful for us attackers because we basically get the version of the server and we can use it, just paste it in the Google and try to find any specific vulnerabilities for that version. So today some of the websites even leave out this option right here in the HTTP response just because it is so valuable to the attackers, but most of them still have it. So we will be using this option as well in order to try to find and gather some of the other vulnerabilities for that specific version of the server. The next thing we are interested in is a thing that isn't really specified in this HTTP response, but it is basically a set minus cookie option. It is the server that is setting a cookie value for ourselves. So it is basically sending a cookie value that it assigned to my machine in order to track my session. So it is also an important thing. Here you can see that the header and the body response is divided by this blank line. So you don't need to remember it like that. You can basically just remember it as in the content or in the body of the response it will be an HTML code, which is easy to recognize with these arrows. It basically always begins with these arrows and closes with these same arrows, so you will easily know what the HTML code is. Now that's some of the things that you need to know from the HTTP response, but before we continue, there is another thing that I want you to know, which is the HTTP methods available. The methods are basically, let me just open my virtual machine, let us just log in. Now, we covered one method already in our first HTTP request video. We covered the get method. So basically, when I type the google.com or let's say facebook.com, I sent an HTTP request with the GET method, which basically just requested from the server this page. Now, there are a few other methods, for example, post, head, trace, put, delete, options. Those are all bunch of the methods that you can send to the server. The most important for us would be the GET method, which we already covered, which is just requesting the website, and the POST method. Now, the POST method is basically us sending some of the information to the server. Now, you might be asking what kind of information do we want to send? Well, a simple example would be us sending a username and password. It is done with the POST method. So let me just open up the picture again. So we open the request header, and here we can see the GET method. Now, instead of the GET, if we did a POST request, it would type here POST. So basically just POST. So the POST request would be if we, for example, on email type here anything and pressed here log in, this is us sending a POST request. Now it asks, of course this isn't a valid account. As we can see, we got someone named Pablo Canseco or whatever that name is. So that is us sending the POST request. Now I will explain it a little bit further once we get to the Burp Suite installation, well, not installation, most likely configuration, since it can be a little bit difficult to configure first time, so I will lead you to that process. But let me just for now on close this and show you how you can scan with the things that we did learn already, the available methods, HTTP methods on a certain website. So for example, you want to scan a website and see if there is a post method available, head method available, delete method available, or any other method. You can do that with a simple nmap script. So we already covered nmap before, so let us just go into our scripts folder, which is under this path right here, user share nmap then scripts. And what we want to find is the HTTP method script. So let me just type here ls in order to list, and let us try to grab the HTTP. Yes, I forgot the command grep right here. As we can see, there's a lot of them, so let me just type here ls grep and then method. Maybe it lists, I can type, maybe it lists less options. As we can see, there it is. And this is the script that we want, which is http-methods.nse. So in order to run that onto our OWASP virtual machine that I showed how to install before, let me just check here. So the IP address is .1.9, so we just run here nmap and then --script and then equals, and now we will copy the script name, paste it right here, and then we will specify the ports that it should scan. So it shouldn't really scan all of the ports, it isn't necessary. We know that the HTTP ports and HTTPS ports are 80 and 443. Now we will also add the port 8080 since it can be relatively commonly used as an alternative port to 80. So let us just type here P for the ports and type here 80, which is the HTTP port, 443, which is the port for HTTPS, and port 8080. And now at the end we want to specify our IP address of the target, so it is .1.9. Now we will let this run. I'm not really sure how long it should take. It should finish relatively fast. Here we go. And we can see that it gives us the output port 80, TCP open HTTP, and available HTTP methods. We can see right here supported methods get, head, post, options, and trace. These are some of the HTTP methods. And potentially risky methods is trace. So we can see that with this nmap script we can gather the available methods for any website with the specified port. Now, in order for us to view the packets that are going to the website and back, we need to use a proxy, and for that proxy we will use Burp Suite, which will let us see all of our packets that we are sending, and it will let us change them. And also it is used for some of the attacks, such as a simple brute force onto the website, the session hijacking, and bunch of other attacks. Now, the process of making the Birdsuit as your proxy can be a little tricky, so I will show you how to do that in the next video. And until then, I hope you're having a great day and take care.